Okay, so picture this, a poet prince from 5th century India. We're talking about a guy who had it all, power, wealth, you name it, and then one day, he just walked away from the whole thing. His name was Bhartṛhari, and he left behind this incredible collection of poems called the Vairagya Shatakam, which means the 100 verses on renunciation. So let's dive into how this ancient text is, believe it or not, a surprisingly modern guide to living a fearless life. So, let's just kick things off with a question that gets right to the heart of what it means to be human, a question Bhartṛhari was totally obsessed with. Why is it that no matter what we get or what we accomplish, there's always that little voice in the back of our head saying, yeah, but I just need a little bit more? And this is where Bhartṛhari just flips the whole script. He says, we think we're the ones enjoying all these worldly pleasures, but actually, they're the ones devouring us. You know that endless chase for the next thing, the next job, the next gadget, the next like on social media? It doesn't actually fill us up. It just eats away at our time, our energy, and our peace of mind. And here's the really cruel twist. As we get older, our bodies wear out, but our desires, they stay as strong as ever. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's such a brilliant paradox, right? Everything else in our bodies, it kind of winds down over time. Our strength fades, our hair turns gray. But our desire for more? Bhartṛhari points out that it's the one thing that seems to get younger, constantly renewing itself. It's such a sharp, almost brutal observation about how we're wired. So, if our desires are actually eating us alive, what kind of world does that create? Well, according to Bhartṛhari, it creates a world built on a foundation of constant, low-grade anxiety. Let's dig into how this whole system is really structured by fear. And here is his crucial insight. Every single thing you could possibly want in this world comes with its own built-in fear. You find enjoyment, and boom, you're afraid of getting sick. You get a high-status job, now you're afraid of getting fired. You get rich, now you're afraid of people who want your money. You love your own beauty, and now you're terrified of getting old. Even if you try to be a good person, you're afraid of people trashing your reputation. The pattern is just undeniable. Bhartṛhari's point is devastatingly simple. Attachment is the root of all fear. And his conclusion? The only real path to fearlessness is renunciation. And, he doesn't just state this stuff like a dry, logical argument. He uses these incredible metaphors that just get stuck in your head. Old age isn't some gentle decline. It's a tigress, literally stalking you. And your life? It's not a river flowing steadily. It's draining away, drip by drip, from a leaky pot. These images are meant to be a wake-up call, right? To shake us out of this idea that we have all the time in the world. Okay, so if the normal path, the conventional one, is just riddled with fear, what's the alternative? Well, this is where Bhartṛhari gives us these two amazing archetypes, two totally different ways of looking at a successful life, the king and the yogi. And what a fascinating contrast, right? The king's power is all external. He rules over stuff, he's served by people who want his stuff, and like we just saw, he lives in constant anxiety about losing it all. But the yogi? That's a whole different ballgame. The yogi's power is internal. He rules over the kingdom of his own mind. He isn't served by the rich, he's served by people looking for truth. And his wealth isn't gold, it's contentment. His power isn't about control, it's about real, actual freedom. So, what does this yogi's path actually look like in practice? Bhartṛhari calls it renunciation. But, and this is really important, it's not about self-punishment. It's more like a kind of radical self-sufficiency. It's about going through your life and systematically cutting all the little strings of dependency that create fear in the first place. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds pretty extreme. But just check out the logic here. If your food is just whatever you're given, you're not chained to a career. If you can sleep on the bare earth, you don't have to fear losing your house. If the only person you depend on is yourself, nobody has any power over you. See, it's not about making yourself miserable. It's about engineering a life where there's literally nothing left for you to be afraid of losing. In its own way, that's the ultimate form of freedom. But look, all this physical stuff, this simplicity, that's only half the story. The real work happens on the inside. In Indian philosophy, the swan is this beautiful symbol for something called viveka, which means discernment. They believed a swan could magically separate milk from water. And for the yogi, that's the number one skill. Being able to separate what's real and permanent, like inner peace, from what's unreal and just passing through, like money, fame, and pleasure. Because without that wisdom, renunciation is just hardship for no reason.
So this all brings us right back to today, to right now. How can a poet from 1500 years ago possibly challenge our modern, 21st century ideas about success, about ambition, and about what it really means to be wealthy?
This right here, this is the mic drop moment of the whole text. In just one question, Bhartṛhari completely redefines rich and poor. He's saying it has absolutely nothing to do with your bank account. The truly poor person, that's the one whose desires never end, who's always wanting more. And the truly rich person, that's the one whose mind is content. With that one simple idea, the whole distinction just dissolves. If your mind is content, you are the wealthiest person on earth. Period.
And so this ancient text leaves us with a really personal challenge. Look, it's not asking us all to run off and live in a cave. It's asking us to just look honestly at our own lives and ask, what's making me anxious? What am I clinging to that's actually consuming me? What is the one attachment, the one desire that if I could just loosen my grip on it, might bring me a little closer to that fearless peace the yogis found? It's a question that's just as alive today as it was 1500 years ago.